Hey guys, welcome back. That's
My name
right.
is Amy
if you're
Bogard.
hearing this
I'm Mike the Hobbit.
sultry
And we are
voice
the hosts of Deeply Upsetting,
parenting
where we use our expertise
dilemma
to answer
and
your
just
most
general
upsetting hypothetical
tiredness.
quandaries,
Sultry?
such as what
Sultry.
non-Wigan animal
we are
deserves
sultry
things,
because we
and
are
what body
sultry
part deserves a
when we
sultry
give
mouth?
all
Which
the trials
cryptid
and
is the worst
tribulations of
roommate?
being a
These questions
geeky
and more
parent
that
here
plague you
on
will be answered on
the
Deeply Upsetting, available
Geekfathers.
anywhere you get your podcasts.
That's right, guys.
at
I'm Scotty P,
GUIPodcast.com.
helping bring all these different wacky things into your life, and just in case you didn't know, or maybe you just need a different
The
point of
views
view.
and opinions expressed
And
on
that's
Geekfather
definitely why I have
are those of the
one
panelists
of
and not those of the
my
Geeks Under the Influence
fellow
Network,
boldness,
their
if you
affiliates,
will.
or sponsors.
Lovely.
Listener discretion is
Thank
advised.
you.
Hey,
This is for the
man,
parents
you're
and not for the
special.
kiddies.
Special. I'm
Man,
lovely.
you are lovely. We shine together.
Well, hi.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Father, real
I'm
loud.
good. I'm just biding my time as a parent, ready for school to start.
Exactly, because by the time you're hearing this, you are now entering Labor Day weekend,
Yeah.
which is, well, actually, for our kids personally, and there are probably still some areas out there, this is the last weekend before the school year begins.
Yeah, like a semi-normal. They're in school.
We'll see.
They're in
they,
school.
They are physically in school.
We'll just
yes.
say that.
Yes, there are some counties and areas that have already been in school for about a week, maybe even 2 weeks.
Running into a lot of issues. You know,
And
bus drivers being one of them.
Oh man, the shortage of people in general, which I get, which we can. That's going to be a whole nother old man tangent right there about certain things. But we're just kicking off here the official back to school episode, which I think this show has done pretty consistently because obviously being a parent and the children going into the schools. Even last year, it was that was one of our. I believe you were already co-hosting on a regular basis then. But that was one of the biggest things. We definitely really got into virtual body. Fortunately,
Well, I mean, how could you not talk about it? It's like
exactly, yeah.
pandemic, right? I mean, honestly, I don't know of anything that you can do currently unless it's maybe a movie or TV show that lives outside the realm of reality. But
Right.
or story or something like that. But short of that, like if you're doing a podcast, like it's impossible, especially as a parent. It's absolutely impossible not to talk about
Exactly.
it. So it definitely was a topic of conversation for a lot of episodes.
Right, and I really wish. Well, our hopes would be by this back to school episode would have been, yay, normal again? Question mark. You know, that's the way we had to look at it. Like ever since last year at this time, it was really we were gung ho. I appreciated virtual again. The teachers, the people that have helped make this happen as smooth as possible. A big thank you again.
Oh yeah,
Because even getting ready for this year has been a chore.
did you have an open house recently?
Actually, we just went today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So did I.
Yep. And they were very good where I know for the county, because our kids technically go to the same, or in school in the same county, we're just in different districts.
Yes.
For things. So the counties have been pretty baseline for what they're
Hey,
doing.
we went there. Everybody was masked. It made me feel very comfortable in terms of safety, even if that's, like, I mean, everybody was masked. It was like,
Right.
I didn't see one person even sneak their
Me neither.
mask down. It was just like,
Nope.
I believe that, they probably...
They limited time for families to be in the classrooms. They had, like, what was it? It was, they asked that they preferred only one parent go with one child. They didn't want any of the siblings running around or anything like that. And they actually were asking that 4 families at the most be in the classroom at the time, just because there was so much going on. Because besides the normal, let's get ready for some things, it was, this is how we're set up now. It's still a little bit different. It's not quite the same. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, the flow seems to be pretty smooth, at least with...
Well, it seems like they've got down a more concrete process. When we went... For my kid, they separated groups. They staggered them in by your last name. So,
Okay,
A to J or something like that, and then so on and so
Right.
forth. And they broke it up into 3.
Well, see, that's the advantage for Logan School, that elementary school. Mm-hmm. It's outside buildings. It's set up
Yeah.
more like what you would see. I call it West Coast
You
style.
have to walk outside to go to the class. Each
Right.
classroom.
It's not just one huge building with classrooms in the one huge building. There are various buildings with so many classrooms in that building. So it was a lot easier just to kind of go in, roll through, do what we need to do. And unfortunately, not all the grades were able to do this, obviously. But for some of them, Logan also has the same teacher that he finished last year with.
Right.
She was able to move up with his grade.
That same thing happened with my kid. Although she was my kid's new teacher, not new teacher, but the new teacher for this year.
Right.
Was her teacher for a lot of subjects last year because of it happened to be virtual. And she was actually you have rough moments. She was actually pretty good. She was pretty great.
Right.
Even as a parent, even if I get frustrated but not at the teacher, just frustrated.
Well, it's the general scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
And having a teacher in the family, I will say that they are brave. And
For sure.
that is not... I don't know if I would have the fortitude to do that job. It's a difficult job. I mean, and now it's exponentially more complicated and scary.
Absolutely.
And they still going to go and teach our kids, so that's definitely one of those jobs that deserve. You need more money,
right?
Okay? You need more money,
more money,
more resources, more money.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's
and I'm going to be blunt about that because that is one of those subjects where if you think the teachers are doing just fine with the way they've done things for so many years, even before this pandemic bullshit happened, you need to get yourself back in the loop. If your kids are, too old or you don't have kids, learn about where your community stands on where teachers are and what they're doing because they do so much personal out of pocket.
Yeah, I was just saying, so their own personal
all
finances.
sorts of stuff, man. It's crazy.
While you still have parents out there who are, pushing back against general safety for for everybody.
Well,
so
that's a whole different.
Oh, I could.
Yeah, we could. That'd be a whole nother episode if we actually wanted to do a deep dive. So
the stupid is as stupid does.
There you go. Yeah, and unfortunately, so even Forrest Gump still holds true on so many things these days.
Forrest Gump holds true on many things, and will always hold true on. Did you ever see the movies that made us? They have the new season that popped out.
I did catch a couple of those episodes.
Has the Forrest Gump on there.
Oh, does it really? See, I haven't seen that one yet. Okay.
It's not like they even had Back to the Future, which is they already had Back in Time, which me and my daughter watched because we're big Back to the Future fans.
Yeah,
she loves Back to the Future.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you can't, but she loves it. Always has. So this is a good documentary, and it was more, it had Michael J. Fox and everybody in it. But the movies that made us are really good about digging into the crevices of the people that worked on it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Finding out some of and they're really good with that. But watch the Forrest Gump one. They have Jurassic Park too, which
I think I started the Jurassic Park one and got interrupted. So
I knew that those. So I don't want to give, but. It basically what I learned was, and I knew it at the time, and when the movie was made as a kid, it was like, it blew me away in the theaters.
When you're a kid, you never worried about behind the scenes back then.
No. I mean, I always loved how things worked, but you were in this movie, and this movie, even the effects have withstood the test of time, and the reason
the most
being,
part.
No, I watched it recently. I don't see.
Wait a minute, are you talking about Back to the Future still or Jurassic Park?
No, I'm talking about Jurassic Park.
Oh, Jurassic Park.
Because that was was the last. Yeah, so that was the last one. And I was saying, as a kid, basically, I learned from it that although I knew that the new type of special effects really started with that.
Yeah.
That it really did start with that. Like they did a CGI to do the T-Rex, but the studios pushed back against it.
Yes.
Really hard, and
right,
and eventually it won out because they were doing it in secret and found out that it was like essentially this. You just opened up a whole new world.
I think that was one of one of the last things I did see. I'm trying to remember if I actually finished it or not. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it,
you never finish anything as a parent.
Well, so that's true. Yeah, things are always done in sections.
You always have to. Whatever movie I'm watching, I've never sat down and watched a full movie straight through. Never.
if I have, it's only because everybody else is asleep in the house.
Well, even then, I fall asleep
Well,
because I'm so tired by the end of the day that I get like 45 minutes in and I'm like, I start snoring my head off. So
that's true too. So, but that's right because it's actually, and I'm gonna just pull this back into the show a little bit, where you kind of, to a certain degree, where you kind of hope for your kids to do that, where you're trying to learn from, where even though you're getting pushback, which the studios totally pushed back on the CGI stuff.
Yeah.
But a couple of the guys were like, screw you, we're doing it anyways.
Yeah.
Now, it was no harm, no foul, because it didn't affect anything for the movie other than that they did end up using it, which was a good thing. But if the studio still pushed back and never used it, the movie probably still would have done really well.
I don't know about that.
It's not as well, for sure.
I don't know. There was a lot of things change, just like any movie. And this is where, like, even me and my kid, like, we love talking about this stuff, which is, like, obviously totally geeky, totally nerdy, but it's fun. It's fun to break these things down because it's just cool to see how they do it. But yeah, I don't think, like, nothing would have been the same. And movies that we loved after the fact, it probably would never been the same. Like, you wouldn't have had movies like Independence Day, which I love. I don't care what anyone has to say about it. I still love Independence Day. I saw that motherfucker. That was the first movie I remember where it didn't release on a Friday. It actually released ahead of time because they released it on 4th of July that year. And just fun. But what I was trying to say before, though, just to make sure I finish my thought as well, is that where you want your kid to, as long as it's for the right, good reasons, I want to say, all right, so you didn't listen to what I told you, but you still went out on your own and you made something better. Yeah.
And call that maybe a far stretch for a relatable moment. Or
Mommy and Daddy were wrong. Look, parents are wrong sometimes.
Without a doubt.
I'll never tell my kid. I mean, I will apologize not very often in terms of like, all right, well, Daddy raised my voice or I jumped to a conclusion. Daddy's, I'm sorry. I apologize. We have to learn to take responsibility for our actions.
Exactly.
Try to show sort of things. And, but you're not always perfect and you're not always right. Even as they don't always need to know that.
Exactly.
But as long as you as a parent know that, then it makes you want to be better all the time.
It's still learning. Yeah. Of course, words escape me as soon as we start recording.
You grow, evolve.
Yes, a learning experience, a learning lesson, whatever it is,
to become better, which is, and to tie it back to going back to school, that's what it's about. Is hopefully this year will be done better, a little more concise and safe. Safe is the biggest word there.
Absolutely.
And I know that's a huge worry. So I because of that, we've delved into these movies and shows. Especially during the summer and this past month, to kind of, because even my kid was worried about a lot of different things, and I'm scared myself, as any parent should be. And so it was kind of like, all right, what do we do? We love this movie. Let's watch it. Like, let's take our mind off of it.
The escape is needed still more than anything else.
Yeah.
Now, granted, my kids, we still enjoy a lot of the shows, put on a movie and enjoy the movie, but my kids have kind of gone into their own world. Maybe it's a sibling, it's that, and that's always going to be right now you have the only child. I've got the siblings where they kind of, and especially...
Are they starting to clash?
No, they're starting to work together.
Oh no, that's even worse.
Yeah. So they're working together more than anything else.
Yeah, you got to have your head on a swivel.
Oh man, and that's why, but also because again, the way this past year has been, especially with ramp up over the past into the summer and stuff, they're working together. Let them do their thing, because the still more that we're still having to be stuck at home more than when we go out. They're going to have to rely on each other more than anything else. As much as I would love for them to all have 5 friends that hang out all the time and, blah, blah.
You wish, because the worst thing you want to hear your kids say is, I'm lonely. Or, I need friends.
Yeah.
Like, that breaks your heart, because then you're like, well, fuck, I'm not doing enough.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Do I need to go befriend that kid's parent down the street, even though, maybe they don't want anything to do with it? But
exactly.
But if you want to build that bridge, is that better for them?
Well, you just know that the kids are out there. But again, the safety factor is so a larger margin at this point.
Especially if they go to school together. That makes it more complicated because then you have a whole social structure that that happens in school and with the kids moving up. Where they start. That's kind of the hard, especially after this pandemic. I will say the hardest thing was kind of finding that harmony, that balance. And now that school is starting, you can bring hopefully structure into the picture. And I will say, from one parent to another, I love my child. I love spending time with my child.
Duh.
But I am so terrified as well as excited that she'll be back because the kids will be back in a normal. In a social setting where they can grow.
Normal.
Right. Well, normal's dead. But in the
that's why I say current normal. Fuck the old normal at this point. We're working on the current normal.
I've even taught my kid normal is a personal perspective.
Exactly.
It's not a you can have a club or a clique, but it's not a large group usually a situation.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, it was hard to reconcile being excited about my kid go back to school and terrified that I hadn't had the option to keep her home, but what do I do in this situation?
Exactly,
my thing was if we keep it as safe as possible, I'm vaccinated, and obviously she can't, she's too young, but as long as she's safe, then hopefully she gets something out of it. Something more than just learning from school, but that hands-on talking to other kids, making relationships.
Well, and with all that, and just the way Logan's eyes lit up with a couple of the kids that showed up, and you're there, you're not on a computer screen, you're actually there to interact with.
Yes.
And he was all about that, which was great. And then you're just like, man, but all it takes is one. And I don't even mean that in a negative, in a harmful way to the kid, but all it takes is one incident. And things can go downhill so quickly, and I'm just like, come on, fingers crossed.
Snowball. Oh, it's a snowball effect.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially this summer. This summer for my kid, I tried to keep her as busy as possible. Her mom tried to keep her not just busy, but doing things that she loved and that she'll remember.
Oh, right.
But trying to do things that would just keep her active. And even if that was going outside, I see other kids outside. Even if it was stupid boys, it's you know what, go out there with the stupid boys. Obviously
somehow,
obviously if it was something serious or if there's, then if you don't feel safe, don't go. But it's not that. It's just, boys are dumb. And she's getting to that age where
Yes, we are.
And we are. Till a very old age, I think.
Oh, yeah. Still aging, but yeah. Anyways.
So it's one of those situations we'll just go out and play. Figure out something to do. We'll stay safe. I can see you, all that stuff. But at the same time, just go.
Right. And we've had times where, unfortunately, our neighborhood is just difficult for kids to play because any other kids in the neighborhood are so spread out or there's just enough of an age difference.
Yeah.
But we have had a couple friends where we've been able to get together on a Saturday afternoon and just go burn energy. Go do what you're going to do in the backyard. We're just chilling here, talking. Go burn that energy. Go do whatever you kids do. You wacky kids, you. So it's
and that's healthy, and that's it's good for their mental and emotional development. It's important to
for sure
to go through that.
Humans are social creatures.
You're not supposed to be around your parents that much.
No.
You're really not. It's not. It's probably not healthy for the parent or the kid.
No.
You need to have social interaction with other beings your size and your age.
Exactly. And again, that's where
your emotional level.
Multiple children in one home is kind of that's been beneficial. There's still always the times of break it up or so and so did this to whatever, blah blah blah. I've had that advantage where it's just no, you guys have your little community, you guys do your thing, you guys play this game together, or they'll even still do stuff separately, which is just fine as well, but they'll still be able to cross paths and no friction, no, whatever. And it's at least clung to something, as much, again, like I said, as much as it would be great to be no, have a couple of the kids come over, go run around in the backyard or whatever. It's just, just the way our neighborhood is set up,
Right.
and what we've had to do, it's just been more difficult for us to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, in comparison to yours, where you've got some of the neighborhood kids close enough in age and their friends and blah blah.
They all
blah.
go to, yeah. Well, they all go to the same school. They're just mostly pretty much boys. So that's the only. You know, and my daughter, you know, she's old enough now that she's, you know, to her, it's just like, boys are stupid. Like, I like them, we're friends, but damn, they're dumb. Like, that's where she is right now. And I'm like, you know, she doesn't necessarily come in and say that, but in fewer words. And I'm like, you know, honey, you're not wrong. Right. And wait till you get up into middle school. I always tell her, you know, middle school is where you got to be strong and you got to be like, just make sure you're doing what you're doing, you know, because that's like a jungle. And for me, that's close.
The wife still tells me that as soon as the boys hit teenage years, they're yours, and she's done until like they get in at least high school.
She's done. She didn't want to find any crusty socks.
Oh, she's like they're dirty, they're gross. She's just like, I'm not gonna deal with that shit. Okay, well. Yeah. I'll do what I can then.
Like the bathroom, like one of them's been in the bathroom for just like far too long. I know you don't want to, but
don't get me started on that, man, because it's just for right now it's just like, well, what are you doing? Where have you been? And they're just taking a, you know, for I'll say for like that adolescence in me where my kids just take a shit like they're adults, but they're not adults, but they'll be in there and you'll walk by and you'll be like, what is that? Did something die? And you realize the fan is on in the bathroom and you kind of peek in the door. You're like, hey, who's in? Oh my God. And you slam in the door shut and they're like, leave me alone. And so it's a prelude to what we'll be building up to over the years for sure.
Oh, you won't even be able to get into the door in that.
That's why I'm glad we have multiple bathrooms in our home.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Yes.
So, yeah.
You know, as any, you should. Even if you have one in the house, they become a teenager, build one for yourself out back. You know,
without
put a little
doubt.
hose and a little sprinkler, take a shower out there, like
we've got the hiking bathroom where it's a bucket with one of those toilet seats you can attach to the top of the bucket. I'll take that out to the backyard. I don't care.
Did you say a hiking toilet?
Hiking, like camping toilet.
It's a commode.
Or a whatever you want to call it. It's a bucket, but it's the seat is specially made to attach to the top of any bucket you've got.
Yeah.
And you can.
It probably originally comes with a bucket, but.
You can buy just the seat by itself.
Yeah.
It's cheaper that way. Because
I've never heard of anyone, old man rant, I've never heard of anyone call it a camping, what'd you call it, a camping toilet?
A camping toilet, hiking toilet, whatever
commode?
it is. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I know that's usually used for, like, sick and disabled people who can't, like.
Oh, no, it's like one of those big white paint plastic buckets and just like a generic toilet seat that's attached to it.
Like an actual toilet seat? So it's not like a toilet seat with handles on the side.
No. You could buy an actual toilet seat, and there's like
Did somebody make that in their garage? Is that like a sellable thing?
I'm sure that's how it started. Yeah, I mean, go look online or whatever.
I've never said. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We'll bring one. You know where we can bring that to? The Comic Con.
Ooh.
VA Comic Con.
November
20th, bitch.
November 20th, that's right. That way we won't have to leave the table. It'd probably get pretty gross real quick. But
you know what? We should just bring one of those like circular curtains.
Yeah. Well, you could also have little tablets you can put in there to help dissolve like the stuff.
The smell?
And the smell, yeah.
Yeah, so it smells like breath.
But I don't think Brett would appreciate that if we showed up to Comic-Con with a poop bucket.
Yeah, if Brett ever listens, I promise we will not do that.
No.
At all.
But it is scheduled so far where, yes, like you said, November 20th, just like we did this past summer where Geeks Under the Influence, we'll say the showrunners, I would assume all plan on being there.
Yeah.
So for Richmond Va Comic Con, I think it's at the Raceway again, I believe.
It is at the Raceway, yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. We pulled up the information just to make sure. So guys, feel free, if you were able to come by and see us there, we'll be there again.
Just remember, free parking and free
and
for
I'll
kids.
do that for you.
Free.
Not really.
Well, you know what? That plus free parking and free for kids
parking.
under the age of 12.
And
with the
we-
paid adult. Obviously, the kids.
True.
I don't. Yeah, under
Yeah, I mean,
12
that's
kids not
obvious.
going to walk through there by themselves and get there to
I would
Raceway.
hope not,
That would
anyways.
be. I would be one awful parent to let your kid do that.
But either way, we will give you. We still plan on giving plenty of moral support.
Oh
Just
yes,
like we did
a lot
last
of moral
time.
support, and
Yeah.
at that point, kids had been in school, so any kids are there. They just might need it.
Well,
Maybe just
exactly.
want it.
Well, and that's what we're looking for. Is we know even with the ramp up and everything, there are still going to be things like. Hopefully, something like this will still be available because after the school year starts, for so many people, we're again having to redo our lives. And so something like the Comic Con, we were talking about, like, there's a couple of the newer movies that have come out, which would be, definitely need those date nights again, to try to get away, The theaters, when they've been open, have been really good about how they do seating. I haven't been since
I completely
before.
agree. I actually went to see Free Guy recently. My daughter's actually
Okay.
upset because I saw it without her. With Jim, but which was really good.
Yeah.
and just really enjoyed just being in the theater. I got like popcorn and soda, and I
Right.
got candy, and it was like one of those things where it was like.
Are they still doing like the checkered style seating where there's spaces or?
I think the spacing is less, but you do need. I think you do need to be masked unless you're sitting down.
Right.
But generally, I mean, to be honest with you, that when we went, it wasn't that busy. I don't know how weekend nights have to be, would
Right.
be, but I know that when we went, it really wasn't that busy. At least that showing wasn't.
Okay. No,
So,
fair enough. Fair enough.
Who knows? I mean, listen, you have really big budget movies coming out making $100 million in the box office, like Jungle Cruise or something, which is
Cruise.
good in conjunction with the revenue coming from Disney or Disney Plus.
Right.
So that looks really good, but really before all this, $100 million wasn't. It was okay if you made a movie for. 50 million or
Exactly,
30 million
yeah.
or something.
As Kevin Smith says, as long as they're making their money back, and the more money that they make after that, that's what puts a movie in the theater, or keeps a movie in theaters, or keeps it or makes it a blockbuster.
Sure.
So I mean, but Marvel, Disney, however you want to put it, is definitely ramped up with everything. Because I mean, like you said, Jungle Cruise, but Shang-Chi's coming out this weekend.
Yes, Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yes.
Which we go see tomorrow. I'm going to see it tomorrow.
You guys are.
Taking the kiddo.
The wife and I have actually talked. See, we talked about wanting to do a day night, but we want to go see Candyman, the new Candyman movie.
Yeah, I can't take my kid to go see it. I have to wait.
Well,
till
we're
I'm
talking about
parent.
date night. We're not talking about kids.
Oh, date night. Now, see,
Yeah.
I wish that I could get mine to go see that. My Jem will not see that. That will
Really?
absolutely not. She is not a scary movie kind of.
See, we love our horror movies. Even when my parents have been able to take the kids, because again, my parents still do a lot for us, even with the way things currently are. But over a couple weekends where they've done like a couple extra things for like a birthday weekend or something,
Right.
We've literally ordered in and watched like Shudder and found cool old horror movies to watch, and that was our date night, basically.
Yeah. No, see, if I'm doing that, I'm doing it on my own. I mean, there's probably a few that she'd be willing to watch, but like my kid's probably more willing to watch more horror. Although she doesn't. She's more willing to watch more horror movies.
I'm in that great dilemma as well, because as you can tell, we're already going well above and beyond the back to school at this point. But again, this is all just recent stuff that's been happening. Is that my kids they'll jump into bed late at night with me or us, because my wife works super early, so it just depends on if they're up when she gets up. And I've totally caught of their stupid videos, like videos that you and I wouldn't care about, but I see Logan pulling that blanket up to his face, and it's like little like jump scare type videos and different stuff like that. And I'm just like, you're not supposed to technically be watching those, but are you gonna scare yourself when you go to bed tonight? And I'm basically getting the answer of basically.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing, Dad.
Yeah. So why are you watching the video if you're going to be scared? Because they're cool? Well, I can't argue with that per se, but if this is what's going to cause you to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and then crawl over me and be scared to some level, I don't even know what to do anymore. I've lost it on that subject. That's one of my little like, and you could probably tell, because besides the typical tired parenting that I usually am when we record anyways, because that's just the way we are. I'm surprised we make it through most of our episodes still awake.
Listen, I'm always in some form of sleep. Trying to be.
Fair.
Like, I think mentally, I'm always just, parts of my brain shut down to rest. So, and I lose that capability.
One part rests while another one activates, and then it's like sleeper cells.
Yeah. Now, luckily, I've never lost the ability to parent.
That wakes up everything, really.
But that wakes up. You stay tired. Any parent knows that, especially, when I was coming back to school, and I was seeing a lot of parents, and it was really staggered. Well, we got in there and got set up, and I'll tell you, it was a little emotional for me, because I knew that like every day, she'll come home and want to talk to me about her day, right. And I want her to have that. Obviously, when you're home all day, you find ways to keep yourself occupied and after school and so on and so forth.
Very true.
But at least this way, it can be like, I experienced this, away from you, and then I'm going to come back and tell you what happened.
Well, and that's what I mean.
It's pretty cool when I think about it,
right?
Which is like watching sharing a movie, and they're like, or they see this movie that you love, and they want to just go, let me tell you all about it. Like that's the kind of feeling that I'm ready, that I usually get from a geeky dad standpoint when it comes to school. And all of that, that's kind of the way I felt today.
And we've been very fortunate, like I could tell the attitude change with Logan. Not that it was like necessarily a bad, I mean, he's still my little like grumble type, he's my, 7 going on 17, whatever.
Yeah, he's going to be the one coming in, you'll be like, how's your day? And he's like, eh.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was a day. It was a day.
It happened.
Right. But after the open house and stuff, he definitely perked up. He definitely had just that change to where I'm really hoping for, and way more willing to talk about what he was doing, what was going on, and that's what I'm really hoping for, to push for even these movies. Like, I mean, it'd be great to have a date night again, like to actually go somewhere. But if I get a chance to even take. I probably won't worry about Leland just because he's our wild child, as you know. But to take even Logan to, if there's a chance to get him into a theater to see a movie, because technically he's never been to a theater yet.
Really?
I
guess he wouldn't, would he? How long have we been going through this? 2 years almost?
Yeah. Which would have put him at, he was still 5 years old technically when everything started, pandemic-wise. But also just knowing the way he is and the way he functions even around a movie. Like, he'll be watching a movie, but just to have him sit in a seat while watching a movie is not cohesive. Especially again, pre-pandemic, especially in any type of crowded theater. Mm-hmm. He would be more concerned about what the other kids were doing. If they wanted to like hang out and watch the movie maybe together and play during the movie. Because he's one of those where he'll know what's going on with the movie. But he is so, though his brain is just on such a high speed that he's still got to be doing. He's going to be one of those where he has to multitask.
Yeah.
Or else he won't know how to function.
Right.
He's got to be doing multiple things. Or if he can only do one thing, he'll be in it so heavy, he'll have no idea what's going on around him.
Yeah.
So, and that's just and that's why we never took him. It wasn't because I didn't want to. We didn't want to. It was because I just know it's just seeing the way he functions.
Yeah.
Now there have been a couple, and I've tested that because now with school, it's always been better because he's been able to, getting into the rhythm of school and everything. He's been doing a lot better with doing stuff. So that's also why I'm thinking like, now's the time to do it. And I totally lost my train of thought there, which is parenting fog, man. I swear.
Sorry, you can always edit that part out.
No, because you got it. This is unfiltered. You know that. There's very little edited out of these shows.
You told.
But
I watched you go from a cohesive thought, and I
totally
literally
did.
I saw it in your eyes. I was like, "This what? Where's nope, there he's gone."
I totally.
Your eyes just broke. You just
It
kind of
did-
went
it
in a
did.
different. Yeah.
And because I got woken up about 5 times. Like I said, those scary videos, man. I got woken up like 5 different times last night.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, it was like 6 o'clock this morning. Jennifer had already gone to work. I woke up to go pee. And then I had Logan busting in on the bathroom on me going, I woke up and you weren't there.
You fucked up. Is what you
Right.
did.
And I'm just like, dude, I'm peeing. And
That
he goes, okay.
Yeah.
And waited for me to get out of the bathroom before he went back to bed.
Yeah, you fucked up.
I did.
Why did you not take him with you? See, bad parent fail. That's a
Yeah,
parent fail
totally
right there.
parent fail at
from
6
his
o'clock.
from his perspective. That was a fucking parent fail.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I mean, he was pissed. He was. I
It
mean,
sounds like it.
He was.
He's like, listen,
it's so
motherfucker,
funny.
You think you can piss
Right.
without me?
Exactly.
And I'm scared?
or at
How?
least tell me what
Yeah.
you're doing.
What are you doing? Why you
Yeah.
couldn't
I'm just like, are you
drop me a line, pops?
right? It's like I should wake you up to tell you I'm going to go take a leak just so I can go back to bed. You know, it's like, dude, what are you talking about?
Well, you know, and he's gonna. The kids remember, so now he's gonna expect you to know. Okay, he's done. He's done. Let you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, he always lets me know, but at the same time, we're working on that whole thing of, dude, no, you deal with yourself, man. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Deal with yourself.
You know, it's funny. I tell my kid whenever the phone rings, it's like, who is it? Like, none of your business. Go about doing what you're doing. Don't
Right.
worry about who's calling me.
Yeah, dude, he has gotten to the point where, because again, in my phone, my mother is just mom.
Right.
But he's already at that point where if he sees anything mom on my phone, he's like, that's grandma. What's grandma? What are you talking to grandma? What's
Yeah.
going on with grandma? Dude. And the same thing because I just have dad for dad and
Yeah.
that's grandpa. And I'm just like, bro, they're not here just for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll say that to you.
Yeah.
Because they're grandparents and that's just what they do. I need to talk to my parents about whatever. You know, it's like, come on, man.
Well, mine's just nosy, and it's just like, they could be upstairs, and my phone will go off. Be like, who is it? It's like, first off, go back to your room.
Right.
Get back to studying. Don't worry about
it's
who's
not
telling
like what
Daddy.
we grew up with, and communication-wise, where you were lucky enough to have more than one phone in the house.
Well,
but
also, that
everybody
was the
could hear-
gamble of answering the phone.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I mean, everybody would hear it ring, and depending on what type of house you had, sometimes you had that house of, I don't want to answer it, you answer it. But by teenage years, you were trying to answer it because if it was
if you had
a certain friend or a certain person that you were interested in, you wanted to talk to them before either a sibling or your parents were like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, you know, and that's the throwback there. If you had more than one phone in the house, you really were never on a private call, because the moment you opened up, you picked up that other side,
yeah,
you could hear everything going on. I mean, there was a million times I used to do that.
Do all the tricks on how to pick up the other phone where you like.
I would do that to
especially-
my brothers all
where
the time.
you time it where you're trying to listen to the conversation like in the other part of
Yeah.
the house, and you're like right when they're talking or saying a certain thing, and that's when you pick up so they don't hear the click
Right.
of the other phone. Because because I had an older brother too.
Well, you know, it's important. You had to keep it down, and then pick the phone up, put it to your ear, and then slowly let your finger up.
But also not let the receiver so they could hear you breathing.
No.
You had to move the receiver.
You either had to cover it, or you just had to.
And anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, Google that shit.
Yeah, Google that shit.
I'm not trying to.
We're getting that old.
Yeah, we come from that day and age. I guess we're dinosaurs. But
Yeah, not everybody was able to have a Zach Morris cell phone.
jeez, talk about man. I don't even want to talk about how expensive the Zach Morris phone was just to even have.
That was a smaller version. You know, I
That
had
was
a much bigger version in the late '80s.
But dude, the
early '80s.
the calling, how much you paid per minute
Oh yeah, was ridiculous.
God awful. Yeah,
That was absolutely ridiculous. So that's what we went through back in the day. So like when you went to school and you did things, like it took a while for information to get out. It wasn't like,
right?
And so now it's like everything comes out like literally within, minutes or sometimes even seconds. Live shit. It comes in live.
Social media, which I've seen, and that's probably one of the funniest things that I've seen get bonkers with, especially since school was virtual last year for so many places and areas. And you try to join the right groups also in some of these social media things, because this is, I don't know if it's going to be necessarily a gripe or just that it's just something to get off my chest about these, but some of these parenting groups are just like off the wall. I don't want to say batshit crazy.
Oh no, batshit crazy is probably pretty
for some of them, yes. For ones in general, it's just like you're going outside of this realm that you don't need to go into. Where here's a group to, whether it's, because I'll be straight up, because I don't know if anybody in these groups listen to this show, because I've mentioned the show on these groups.
Yeah.
But they're technically they're quote unquote punk rock parenting or punk rock dad type groups, which is cool. Like I've talked to a few people on there. It's there's a lot of stuff that is great for support, but then all of a sudden you got these people going on tirades about like what this one person said or how this one person acts, and it's just like, why do I feel like I'm in high school again? Mm-hmm. We are the parents. Stupid stuff has happened. Sure, we pick on each other. Sure, we say stupid shit, but it also gets to a point of let it go.
right.
There shouldn't be 200 comments on one post that's only literally one sentence sitting there going, you said some stupid shit. And it's like 100 different ways to say you said something stupid.
Well, that's social media now.
Well, exactly.
And some of it get information out right away. A lot of it's misinformation and people just saying awful shit all the time.
Right.
That's why you got to protect your kids from it. And that's, but
Very much so,
unfortunately,
yeah.
as they get in age, like my kid's going to be going into middle school next year, and that's where all the trends are going to start. And
oh jeez,
yeah. she's not on she's like one social media, but it's not anything big and it's completely restricted and private, and I can only control it basically.
Right. Oh yeah.
But even then, I'm like, I can already see trends coming. They come out of these things, and that's the one thing about school that in the information age that I'm not excited about dealing with, especially as they come into a teenage level.
Absolutely, jeez.
Of dealing with that, because if it was worse before, if it was bad before, like in the 80s and 90s, objectifying women in movies and TV, right? So that's where you saw magazines, like you saw these perfect women. Now you're getting that like a million times, and that's sort of perspective. Even guys, what guys are supposed to look like.
Everything is coming heavier and way faster. And that's kind of what we've been circling around, like in the past few minutes.
It's kind of like a fucking freight train.
It's so crazy.
It's where I get daily headaches.
Because even the limitation, like I know some of the videos and stuff that Logan and even Leland watch now on YouTube. There's another one for you.
Gracias.
And I'm going to leave those in there just because I feel like leaving them in there.
Well, I know everybody would appreciate it.
Well, that's the type of stress that we're trying to relieve. I'm getting gassy from it. For you, just be lucky it's not coming out the other end.
Well, how very Willy Wonka of you.
I'm a giver. So, see again, there goes my thought process.
It'll keep you from floating in the fucking ceiling. Let it out.
I don't want to dirty up your ceiling. So, but everything is coming in so quick and fast. But like even on something,
I'm sorry. I've been watching. I've been watching a lot of incomplete, crazy ass lefts. You've
been watching
side.
The Office again, haven't you?
I started watching. And I actually watched I think I watched one closer to the finale. Anyways, that started as soon as you said that. It's terrible. I mean no disrespect, but it's just it's a funny show.
I love that joke so much only because also like my wife loves that joke so much.
Yeah.
Well, until I say it like 10 times to her. But that's
when it gets tiresome. When you got to if you're gonna say pick one run right moment a month. It might work out better. Or actually, maybe wait longer than that.
I like to beat that dead horse, man. I love to beat that dead horse. But anyways, the information is coming there. It's there, and it's with social media and everything. And I just see
you're constantly getting pistol whipped But I mean,
You
really are.
but even on the YouTube, which is regular, it's, I tell the stories, but the YouTube, even for my boys, are still heavily regulated. I know everything they watch. I can pull up every video they've ever watched.
I mean, you absolutely have to. Like,
and I've told them, I was like, no, I don't like the way that person is talking or what they're doing.
Right.
I was like, don't watch that video anymore. And they're typically good about watching it.
Even having kids YouTube, you have to like.
Oh, dude, there's so much shit that still slips.
Well,
into there.
people like they'll put in like Barbie videos, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's
there's some
and it's like an adult.
shit,
Like
man.
it really
Yeah.
is. It really. You're almost better off not having like that. But you want to
Yeah.
have it as restricted and as viewed as possible.
Well,
Like,
but again, also the way this past year and a half, almost approaching 2 years, has been, you got to give them something. Now, I mean, we're still some years off in comparison
we
to
do
social
now.
media.
We can give them homework. And we can make them have reading time.
Yay.
And then they have to go to bed at a specific time, which means no sugar after 6:30, 7 o'clock.
I will say that's one thing that I haven't had to really prep a whole lot for school starting is the kids. We've been able to stay a consistent bedtime with the kids for the past couple of years.
That's pretty amazing because I can tell
Right.
you right now, that's not the case for me.
Well, part of the advantage is the wife working super early in the morning because at the very least, the youngest, if he doesn't get up with her, because we're talking about she'll get, her alarm is like 4 a.m. If he doesn't get up with her, he is up shortly after, which means they're up as early as 5 or 6, maybe sleeping until 7.
Well, good, because one of them, just like mine's, got to be at school by like 7:20. Or 7:45.
The bus stop, is only a block away from our house.
Yeah.
It says that the time is 7:14 or whatever. Now, where we are from the school, he's also the last stop. But it's more like, no, we'll leave the house at about 7:05 to maybe a minute walk a block away just to make sure we're golden.
See, I'm going to take my
So-
kid to the first day. You going to do the first day? You going to go
No,
with him?
because Logan, we got to make sure from day one he's got to get back in that routine, or else he'll kind of
You think
implode a
about
little
it?
bit.
See, mine is in a routine right now, self-taught routine. She likes to get up in the morning now, and now that she's allowed to, like, if she wanted to make me a cup of coffee, like we have this little like espresso machine. It's not some fancy one. It's like you can get it on Amazon. Like
Right.
$80 or something, but it's great, and she knows how to use it, and it's safe.
There you
And
go.
so she gets up now, and she's double digits, man. She gets up and she likes making coffee, maybe some like dropping some waffles in the toaster.
Now, I will say that he doesn't do it for me, but Logan
Makes his own.
well, not only that, but I want to take a moment here because we do need to wrap up somewhat soon, which we know that could be another 20, 30 minutes for us, but we'll see. Is that he could make the waffles, but he can't reach the freezer yet because, he's a little bit younger than yours.
Right.
But he does get the bread, and him and his brother have been on a buttered toast kick.
Oh, yeah?
Over the past couple months. He knows how to make the toast for him and his brother in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there's usually fruit or something else that they have access to that they'll also eat for breakfast. So that's what they do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a good
But,
parenting moment. Like, he's taking care of his brother.
That has been one of the best. And the way, I want to say in general, Logan has been a killer big brother. He's been killing that game, dude.
Listen,
I'm no joke, man. I mean, like they still have their little scraps and fight, and they'll come to me going,
sure,
he
that's
hit
natural.
me, he hit me first, and blah blah blah. Sure, siblings. You grew up with siblings. I grew up with a sibling.
I'm
know.
the youngest of three boys. Trust me.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, you.
I'm
went
also
through
the
ringer.
biggest of the family. So.
Well, that's not what she said. But
Sadly true.
yes, well, I won't go there now.
Oh.
I'll leave that alone. But we know how that is. And
I
it's
kept
just-
sorry, I just had Metallica playing in my head. Sad but true. Okay, continue.
Dude, don't bring Metallica, especially don't bring that Metallica into this mess, man. We're
I'll bring Metallica wherever the fuck I want to bring Metallica.
well,
How about that?
Excuse me.
That's right. That's right.
Look at that. I said, you come co-host on this show and you think you just run shit now.
No, I'm gonna bring Metallica.
Anyways, Logan's been killing the older sibling game. He really has.
Good.
I see a reflection of the way my brother was as well. My brother and I have always been close. You've been close with your brothers for the most part, I believe, as well.
When we got older, sure.
When you got older,
Yeah.
okay.
When after the age of like 18. I mean, if some bad shit went down, I know they'd have my back. But
Sure.
aside from that, probably wasn't until I was more of closer to an adult.
Well, see, but we had that one. My brother and I had that one defining moment of moving, which is part of the reason what solidified our relationship in that way at a younger age. We definitely had our knockout, drag on, fights, physical altercations, whatever you want to call it. But we moved here at such a certain age with each other, we had to rely on each other. And even though we were making friends after we moved, we still relied on each other. But and we were only a few years apart, so it helped.
Yeah.
So we had that defining moment that kind of pushed us in that direction as well.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, it worked out.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's good to have siblings. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have a second one.
One day, maybe.
There's always a possibility.
Always possible.
As long as, I'm still young enough-ish.
As long as
Maybe
it
not.
works. Let me...
Everything works just fine, sir.
And I feel like I should clarify it, and I want to, because we have plenty of friends where you don't have to have kids to be complete.
Oh no, not at all.
But I want to say
it depends on what you really want out of life.
Again, in this day and age, like we mentioned about the social media, how stuff flows so quickly,
right?
And I'm sure we've said enough stuff where people are like, "Fuck that show." I'm sure we've said something to offend somebody, but I've always had that point of you don't have to. Don't let society push you into having this, and then that's why I say
adopt if you really want one. You don't necessarily have to have one biologically. You can adopt. There's a lot of children out there that need good people to take care of them.
Absolutely, especially with, let me just say, the bullshit that we're dealing with in Texas right now, and some other things. Won't get on that. That's an old man tangent that I don't want to touch on this show. We don't need to go that negative.
It's an old man angry tangent.
Truth, but just and that's why as we do, again, I know fortunately I'm catching it at a good time with this one. We do need to start wrapping up here, but that's what I want to make sure on it, because again, what we've always emphasized, you don't have to be a parent to listen to our show, to listen to our shenanigans. Hopefully you just enjoy us talking about our shenanigans at the very least. So that's all we could ask for at this point.
Yeah.
But we are prepped. We are ready. I know I've still got a few more things to do with Logan, but we're back to school.
You got to get some supplies, don't you?
We still got to get some, but we have so much left over from last year.
I will tell you a little advertisement. Kroger usually has a very easy, quick selections, and if you can make it there, Target.
Yep.
I went to a few places. Target definitely, Five Below, of course.
Walmart,
I believe,
if worst case scenario, usually has something that we can maintain for at least a little while until we find the regular one.
And I think your son is at the age where he will need a need a clipboard and a dry erase board. And unless you already have those things at the house,
which we
you
should.
cannot. The
dry erase board we definitely do because of virtual last year. We made sure we had. We have a few of them.
The one that I had. For my kid last year, it was just got all messed up, just scratched it, it was just looked like crap. So I got rid of it.
Oh, okay.
Thinking I'm sure I'll need one next year, but we can find them anywhere.
Right.
Nah, man. No, not the size you need, like the 8x11s and shit. No. So I was just
See, that's what I mean. We've got that stuff. I want to say we even have a clipboard. We have extra notebooks, composition books.
And as long as you got a lot of that stuff. I mean, glue. Glue, pens, pencil, sharpened pencil, number 2 pencils, specific things.
Dude, we've still got a bunch of it. That's part of the reason why we haven't worried about it. We just got to go fine tune it.
Yeah,
and
take it. I don't know about the dollar store. I can only imagine.
Oh yeah,
but if you that'll help. Also, like I said, but if you're on a budget, like those places, Kroger, you can get everything you need, fine quality, It's not like you're just buying something that's going to break in the moment you open it, sort of situation.
Yeah, don't need that.
But, you get it, and you can get a lot of the stuff there. Just a little plug that nobody's going to pay us for. But as a parent who had to go to a couple different places to find everything because...
and part of the reason why we also don't have a few things is because technically the Kroger that the wife works at is is separate from our district, so they kind of technically have some different things. But even they don't quite have everything. They sold out of a lot of stuff. Now there's other Krogers we just haven't gone to yet. But we've been keeping an eye out. It's just a matter of working it out. And fortunately, Leland starts. I haven't even. I'm surprised. I told you we were going longer than I knew about wrapping up the show tonight. But Leland starts preschool this year as well. We technically have both kids in school now.
Oh yeah, you don't have to deal with homework for at least one of them.
No.
Second one, year two.
It'll
year
be a
two is
couple
where the
years.
Homework starts.
Well, Logan had a little. I mean, well, granted,
3's a little more, 4's more, 5 is I'm expecting to be a whole lot more, and mostly because there's so much more content. Obviously, different subjects. You know, they get into 5th grade. Like mine's going to 5th grade, so just like last year, she has like science and math, you know, and history or that sort of thing, or social studies. Yeah, you know, and that sort of thing. So
exactly.
I think I saw on a schedule. I don't know if this is true for every Henrico school or any school, that they have like counseling. So I guess I'll have some, you know, like talk to the kids, and you know, I think that's what the case is. I actually didn't see that portion of it till today after we had gotten home. Right. But I'm definitely going to send an email.
I want to say in general that I want to. Again, I can only speak of
counseling. I think that's a
here.
I think it's a wonderful thing.
But counseling, I believe, has been readily available even over the summer and stuff as well. There's been, you know, you may not be able to just go, I'll be there in 5 minutes to talk to somebody about an issue with my kid or something, but there has been help available, which I think is one of the keys at this point, where we're pushing to get back to something that we're familiar with. Again, I don't even like saying the normal, what it used to be or whatever. We're getting back to something that we're accustomed to. Well, we've adapted, we've changed, but there's still got to be some familiarity to it, you know, as well.
Yes, there's always going to be some familiarity, and you're trying to get back to a normal-ish type of situation. But listen, I went to the open house today. And it's like, I fucking forgot how to deal with other adults.
Right.
I forgot, like, what's the proper jokes? Like, what's the proper thing to say? I remember, like, Lorelai has a friend she's going to sit next to. And, you know, I'd make jokes like kids can, you know, kids are annoying, like, you know, or can be annoying, joking around. And, you know, and the mom was, and understanding was like, well, it's not, you know, not annoying. It's just we got to get somewhere. And I was just like, it's just a bad joke. Like, I totally forgot. Like, how do I deal with other people again?
You got to still remember too that people can see your, like, the biggest thing, because like, especially at the school, you're like, hey, you know, especially for me being
right. Yeah. So all you see are the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there trying to smile, like wave to a kid, you know, because they're doing stuff in the classroom, and they're just still looking at me like, who the fuck are you, dude?
You look like a freak.
Yeah. And I'm just like, sorry, I'm here, but I'm like, oh yeah, you can't see like literally half my face because even though I have the shorter beard right now, most of my masks are the longer ones to hold the beard back as well. So it's like, I mean, like eyes down, completely covered on me wearing the mask, and it's just like, oh yeah, you can't see me trying to smile, be like, hi, how are you? And like these little wide eyes going, who? What?
Right?
What?
Yeah.
Who are you? So yeah, but I have high hopes for the school year. Again, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, as that should just be the way life is in general, unfortunately, right now. I'm waiting for that email to drop to put 100% back to virtual. But until then, we're going to keep on trucking with the shit and
just
do what we need to do, you know?
And I will say, too, and I have to say this to myself sometimes, as a parent out there, especially, you know, whatever county you're in, take advantage of the resources they do have. There are some, you know, unfortunately, there's not as much as there should be, but there's more than there was. So take advantage of any resources you can. You know, go on that, you know, Virginia website and, you know, look at the different things they got going on with involving the schools. The Henrico, depending on your county, for us it's Henrico. You know, they have a lot of good information out there. So, you know, use as many resources as you possibly can.
Very much so.
It does help.
Now is not the time to be modest, embarrassed, and trust me, from someone who knows how difficult that can to overcome something like that. Now is not the time for when you're trying to do a betterment for not only your children, but for yourself, your family unit. Do what needs to be done. Don't let anybody judge you or coerce you that, whatever it may be,
For all the peoples out there, and speaking of being done, I think we're about done.
We are done.
You can't see it, but I've got my little one hanging off my shoulder right now. So
she is there. But guys, reach out to help. Even, and I say this as semi-jokingly, but it is a serious one as well, where even we're here, man, as fellow parents and everything, feel free to reach out to Geekfathers. Plenty of people on GUI are parents as well. We may make the jokes, we may cut up about it and everything, but for real, like we have always said, we're a community, we're a tribe together. We'll be here. If you want to come on the show and air out some grievances, and we're related to a good show, a good episode that way. We would love to have a guest. The more we can hear from everybody else, because these two schlubs here, it's.
Well, drop a comment. If there's something you want to hear our take on, believe me, there's a lot more conversation out there to be had on many different subjects.
Absolutely.
So if you're a parent, if you're a geeky parent, or you don't consider yourself a geeky parent, you want to understand what that is. If you have a subject, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Drop a line, drop a comment. Go. You can.
Even though we talk social media, that we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram.
Yes.
If you do want to keep it more private, we still have the Gmail, which is geekfatherpodcast@gmail.com.
Unfortunately, we still have to make our deal with the devil.
We do, but
the
that's
social
also
media devils.
But that's also still how we reach out to so many of you. I know social media, it's finding that balance. It really is.
It's still the platform. If you want to reach a lot of people and hopefully get some of that, they reach back. That's what we hope for. Community is community, and there's a lot. Just because you don't consider yourself a geeky parent, trust me, you're a geek about something.
Absolutely.
And if you're a parent,
and it does affect parents
shit.
and kids.
Yes.
So that's why I say, you don't have to be a parent about this stuff. But guys, just to even segue it, we're going to wrap this up. And if you do, even worst case scenario, need a contact, go to GUIpodcast.com. There are still ways. Hobbit can totally be discretion. Discretion is there.
Discreet.
Discretion, discreet. However you. I'm not an English major. I'm sorry. But if that's just the easiest way, Hobbit knows, can definitely relay messages without any judgment, nothing like that. If it is a serious thing, or if you just have trouble getting a hold of us, go through GUIpodcast.com.
Yep.
And the fun part about that is that while you're there, you can check out all the shows, check out all of our previous episodes. We still have Pre-Cap GUI Flagship, From the Mouths of Madness, Deeply Upsetting. All the shows are there. Again, we are a community. We are a tribe. And that includes all of our GUI family as well.
Oh, and don't forget to go check out the Style Weekly interview.
That's right.
About Geeks and the Influence flagship and network.
Winning Podcast of the Year.
Yes, winning Podcast of the Year.
That's
That was
right.
pretty cool.
So, guys, check out all this stuff. We
do some shit. We do some things. We do some shit.
We do what we can, and we do it good.
We talk into the mic and we do it.
We do it
okay-ish.
We do it okay-ish. We do it all right-ish.
Yeah,
if you will. But and if you really do appreciate what we do, what we would love to also see is that when you're at GUIpodcast.com, click on that link for TeePublic, guys. A bunch of fun designs for GUI in general. Our logo is there. We'll I always talk about we'll have some more designs soon. But any support, it goes right back into the show, and we'd love to see, we've had friends post about it, but so if you do get anything, tag us, let us know. We would love to see you guys out there in all the swaggish type stuff, and I'm just getting done with it now, so.
All right, I think it's time. We're going to say bye.
I need to call it a night. I am tired. Yeah. But guys, thank you very much. We appreciate all the support. Just don't forget, join us.
Or cry.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm FU Hunter.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're gonna fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
Embrace the madness.
GUIPodcast.com.